here we're going to read a few of these verses. We're kind of going through this now. So here we're looking at a three-layered pyramid to get to God's will. We talked about justification, right? Justification moves too fast for me here. Let's see. Oh, it's not. Okay, so I got it automated. Good. It's pausing too long. So justification, this idea of sanctification, this idea of glorification, okay? So right now we're going to talk about justification for a minute. Literally, it's God living in you. That's all it is. Granted, you're coming to him and asking him to be your Savior and Lord, and you're sincere, and he looks at your heart. But what happens is he enters you. He's now in you. Go ahead. Who's got Romans 3? This is what Paul does, though. He drives you crazy with like one sentence. It's got 10 important things in it. But he's basically saying, okay, everybody sins and falls short of God's glory. In the Greek, when it says you fall short of the glory of God, the real translation is we've shortchanged God on the glory that he wants to show through us. All have sinned and shortchanged God of the glory he wants to reveal through us. Then all of a sudden, Paul switches gears and starts talking about justifying you, God justifying you based on Christ. Who's got Romans 5:1? Yeah, this is great. He justifies us. He looks at us and says, not only do I forgive you, you're perfect. You're in. You're with me. You're in my family. How about, let's go to Isaiah 12:2. My favorite book in the Bible is Isaiah because it literally means salvation. It's the gospel. And we'll be getting into that more and more later. But here's what it says in Isaiah 12:2. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For Yah the Lord is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. That's Yahweh Shua. There's 9 names we're going to study on God's name through the Old Testament, and it all talks about him becoming what we need. Yahweh Sitkanu, the Lord has become our righteousness, right? So here we got where he becomes our salvation. So we aren't saved by trusting Jesus. He doesn't give us salvation. We get him. He is salvation. When you trust in Jesus Christ, you get him. He doesn't give you salvation because he's Yahweh Shua. He is salvation. Now, how does he do it? Ezekiel talks about it. Ezekiel's kind of a cool guy. In chapter 11, so you notice it's I. It's him. He's doing everything. When you trust him, he comes in, he transforms you, he gives you a new heart. That's a new life in Galatians. You're a new person, and you no longer have a heart of flesh. You have a heart of stone, you have a heart of flesh. The problem, of course, is what we talked about in sanctification with this idea of a relationship. We don't like it. We want to keep doing stuff that we like. I don't want to forgive that person. God said, well, I didn't give you a heart that had everything right except one little defect. I forgot to click on the forgiveness part, right? No, I gave you everything you need, and you don't want it. So God here frees you completely from any penalty that everyone owes him for sin. It's the only verse you'll find in the New Testament, and pretty much all the Bible, there might be one other one, where God says he owes you something. The wages of sin is death. What are wages? You earned it. He's paying you back for what you've earned. Notice John 3:16. God so loved the world that because of your hard work, he's willing to pay you the wages for trusting in Jesus. No. Yeah, he literally says, I'm giving you a gift. You don't have to do anything. But when it comes to sin, oh yeah, I owe you. These are the wages you've earned. Sanctification. This isn't about yielding to him. A lot of us get this wrong. We think, I'm just going to yield more to his leadership. No. What he literally wants is unrestricted access to you. He wants every day, all day long, unrestricted access to do what he wants in your life. And we're like, well, that sucks. No, There's a few things I'll give you, Lord, because it's okay. But my wife and I had a miserable fight, and I'm still not over it, and I'm just PO'd. And I'll try to give that to you in a month or so, but I'm enjoying not talking to my wife right now. It's great. We pass in the kitchen. We don't say anything to each other. So she knows I'm upset. And I'm sure she'll come around and say, honey, are you okay, right? And that's what we do. And God's like, this guy's a chucklehead. He's not listening, right, to what I want to do in his life. Don't we do this with friends? Somebody says or does something you don't like. What's your first thought? I'm going to ignore them and see if that works. They'll notice. And they'll come over and say, are you okay? Well, now that you ask, now that I've reeled you in, no, you hurt me the other day when you said that. I'm so sorry. Well, I hope you are, because it, right? Isn't that what we do? Right? Jesus, can you imagine if that's what he did? Jesus, what's wrong? I don't want to tell you. You hurt me. I don't like it. So when you figure it out, then I'll tell you, right? So he's completely different. Sin doesn't have power. When you're here and he has access to you and can live and do what he wants in you, power of sin can never overtake your life. It just can't. Because you're no longer under that influence. You're with him. And then this is him just having a ball in our life, showing himself all the time, right? He shows himself, and it's radiated out of our life. So we're not trying to share Christ with people. We're trying to let Jesus share himself through us. Right? So we take all these classes and everything, and we memorize acronyms, and we get everything right, and then we go to share with the one, and we go, oh, I forgot the third part. Doggone it. I'm embarrassed. I can't do this. Can you come here and help me? You know, I'm going to wait till I get it right. God's like, are you kidding? You're awesome. You're awesome. Screw up all day long with a heart like that. I'd rather have somebody with a heart like that who screws up all the time than some arrogant numbnut who keeps getting all the things right, but people are affronted, don't want to talk to him. Yeah, and getting out of his way is hard because most of us truly believe in our lives we really want someone to know what we know. And so we can get ahead of him real easy. Now, what's interesting here, though, is one day in heaven now, we're not even in the presence of sin. So justification, we're freed from its penalty. Sanctification, it doesn't have power. Glorification, one day, it's not even present. It's not even there. This is the Christian life.